My name's Amy Terrian. My son and I are going to show you a little bit how we survive this economic slump where prices of everything are so high anymore. We have a small property here of about 2 acres. We have a bunch of gardens, vegetable gardens. We have pear trees, we have peach trees, we have plum trees, we have cherry trees, and we have apple trees. And we have a bunch of egg-laying chickens, and we have a bunch of meat chickens. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. Is we're going to be doing 2 meat birds. I'm going to show you 2 different ways how we do it and how to utilize as much of the bird as possible. Okay, so we have our first bird. This is called a rustic ranger. It's a hen. I much prefer hens as they're a lot more quieter. Okay, so we're going to start. I have a piece of cord. I'm going to place it around her legs. Cinch it down tight. And I'm going to begin by grabbing her legs, grabbing her wing tips, and like that. And then I'm going to grab her leg. Okay, and then just going to place her on my chopping block. And I'm going to wait for her to calm down a bit. And she will. And I'm just going to dispatch the bird. Put it in a bucket, let it kick and bleed out. And I'm going to let it sit there for about 3 to 4 minutes, just so she bleeds out good. And she's not flopping all over the place. Okay, so we have our bird dispatched. I've let it bled out for 4 to 5 minutes. So I have my scalding cauldron here, and my water is about 150 degrees. So we're going to scald this bird, make it a lot easier for plucking. So I'm just going to show you how we do that. And it's just pretty simple. Just slowly drop the bird in, push it right down, and just bounce it up and down. Make sure that water gets right to the skin. You don't want to keep it in there too long. 30 seconds max. And I'll just do a test pull. Feathers come right out. That's long enough. I'm just going to take the bird over here. I like to hang them when I pluck it. I'm just going to let it drain out a little bit. Let it cool down slightly so I can actually grab the feathers. And I'm just going to have a seat here. I got my veil here, and we're just going to start at the legs, and we're just going to start pulling feathers. Okay, I just wanted to explain about my knife. This is one of the first knives I made in my metal career. Not the greatest. The blade is not fired, so it is not stainless steel. Okay, I didn't realize that this knife design actually had a name. It's called a Viking knife until we were watching YouTube videos of guys making a knife almost like, it looked almost like this one, and that's what they called it, was a Viking knife. So and I said, I just like to use it because it's one of my first knives I made, and I just like to use it. Keeps a very nice sharp edge, and like I say, I just like to use it. As you can see, I've got pretty much all the feathers off. It's just a little bit of fine plucking here. I've taken the wing tips off. I don't use them. You know, and it's just basically cleaning up the bird now, you know, to make it look presentable. You know, you'll see I'll be picking at it all the time while I'm working on it, but yeah. So I'm going to take this bird right now, and I'm just going to go over here. I got a hose all ready to go, and I'm just going to give it a wash down. Okay, so we're going to leave this bird for now, and we're going to dispatch the other bird, and then I'll show you two different ways that I process these birds. Okay, so we've got the second bird all plucked out and everything washed up, and I'm going to show you one of two methods that I use to process my birds. So as you see, we got a bird here. It's not eviscerated or anything. So this is called a parting method. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the legs, and I'm just going to bend one sideways, and I'm going to cut the tissue around it. So I'm going to do something with this. I'm just going to put them over here for now. Break the joint, and then just break the tissue around it. Okay, so now we're left with the main bird. So we're going to part this bird. So I'm going to go here with the legs. We're going to take the leg and thigh off of one side. Okay, so we're going to make a slice. I'm going to feel down here. There's a floating bone, and then there's the two bones around the anal cavity. I'm going to slice down here to the back, and then I'm just going to break that joint. And there's a line right here, basically. Take that out. And you have a leg and thigh. We're just going to repeat on the other side. Take my bird. Break the joint. And there's your line right there. There's my joint. Now you have two legs, two thighs. Turn my bird around. We got wings. Just gonna go around here loosen the skin up. Same thing, just break the joint. There you go. Got a set of wings. That's called a drummy and a flat. This cuts through. Set another set of wings. Take our bird, hold it up here, stretch the skin, go along the keel bone. Okay, I'm going to just go up here to the neck, spread the skin out a little bit. It's keel bone right here. We're just going to fillet the breasts out. I'm going to go along the side, one side of the keel bone, all the way down to the bottom. And then I'm just going to start at the back. And I'm just slightly pulling outwards as I'm cutting down. Just like filleting a fish. Okay, so now we got the wishbone is up here. I'm feeling for it. I'll just cut down to it, right over the top of the wishbone, and just keep going down. Now I'm just going to trim this right now, get a little bit of fat off of there. And you just got to feel for the bone, like the wishbone and stuff. There you go, you got a boneless, skinless breast, and that's the chicken tenderloin. I usually just separate them and put them together, and then you'll just repeat on the other side. So I'm just going to get the skin out of the way. And there you are. So, you get your basic cuts. You get your breasts, legs, thighs, wings. So, now I'm just going to go here, and I'm going to separate the drummies from the flats. Just these are the chicken wings you buy every Friday night. Okay, you got the flats and you got the drummies. Okay, so you got 4 wings now instead of 2. Okay, so now with the legs, you can keep them whole like this. Makes a great meal. Okay, so So in our house, we like to actually separate these. So what I'm going to do is, there's a bone here in the thigh. I try to find where it meets. I cut down to the bone, and I found the joint perfectly. So now you got a drumstick and a thigh. Okay, so one other thing I'll show you is what we like is a boneless thigh.
We pride ourselves on helping you create the ideas in your head, whether for your shop, work site, or at home. We know you love finding the right tools and equipment to build and repair things yourself. We promise to provide you with an unrivaled range of products, a positive can-do attitude, and second-to-none service. Shop online at drssing.com.
So you got a bone. You got a boneless thigh. Now, if you like boneless, skinless, then that's up to you. You can take the skin off anytime you want. Like, you know, you can wash this, freeze it like that. The skin, if you don't want it on, you can just pull it right off. Okay. So now, what do we got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 pieces of parted chicken. You just package those up, you know, after they're washed and everything, and you got a great meal of chicken. Whether you eat the whole thing at once, sometimes if we're doing a lot of birds, for the wings especially, I'll just package all the wings in one package. So next thing is, oh, you say that's a lot of carcass left there. I says, yeah, that is. If you're squeamish about gutting a chicken and, you know, eviscerating a chicken, you can say, okay, you can throw all this out. Now, if you're old school, you're throwing out probably 30-40% of your chicken. You can gut this out, you can pull the heart out, you can pull the gizzard out, and then you can just cut all this into chunks, and it makes your great chicken stock. Okay, we used to call it, when we were kids, we used to call it bone soup. Okay, before all the chicken noodles and the carrots and the potatoes and everything else went in it, our parents would take a whole carcass like this, cut it up, and boil it all, and then that was the basic chicken stock. Okay, so we're going to put this aside for now, because I am going to use it. Okay, so we're left with 2 chicken legs. What do you do with them? Throw them out? Well, you could. But, you know what? All we got to do is actually throw this back in the scalder. Cut the nails off. Peel it all. You could cook it if you like it. You know, what a lot of people do is they'll actually throw this in a smoker, dehydrate it, and it's a dog treat. Cheap dog treat. They sell for $1.50 in the store, at a butcher store. They sell for $1.50 as dog treats. So there you go. I'll put these bones actually with that, because they would go in too. And that's a chicken. That's a chicken processed. Okay, so we're going to show you the second method of processing a bird. Okay, so I'm going to take my bird here and turn it around. First of all, we're going to take the legs off. Put them aside. Okay. So this is going to be a little bit different. It's basically your Sunday chicken dinner that everybody grew up with. So I'm going to start here at the front. Make a cut because there's a crop in here. This is where their food goes when they first eat it. And I want to get that out of there. So I'm just going to grab it. It's tight to the skin, and you can most times just pull it right away. There we go. There shouldn't be too much in here because we selected these birds last night and they had no feed today, so like this. Want to slice off, be careful. Take a little bit of that fat off. I like to do this right away. I go down quite deep, get it out as much as possible. Okay, so now I'm just going to basically leave that there. So I've got it separated, and I've actually got the esophagus out as well. Now I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to make a cut right here. There's almost a line that shows you where to cut. Okay, so I cut down, trying not to cut right in. Then I make a cut to the sides. Okay, then I'm going to pull that apart a little bit, get through the fat and everything. You don't want to try to cut into the intestine. Then I take the anal gland and I cut downwards. And I just cut through there. And again, I'll just start cutting along the spine here and pulling that. And just trying to free it. So this is, you know, if you're squeamish, you know, you can skip through this part, but this is basically how it's done. Okay, there's nothing really nice about it. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my hand in there, and I'm just going to start going in a circle and breaking the tissue that's in there, that's holding everything together. I'm just going to keep pushing in. I'm going to get all that out. I'm going to reach in as far as I can. And basically until I get right up to the top of the lungs. And then this is your crop area, and I'm going to try to find the esophagus, and I'm going to pull all this out. More tissue on this side. Okay, I've got it. It's all coming out. And then you're just going to pull, and everything comes out. Okay. Okay, so everything inside you want outside. So I am going to save the heart. And I'm going to save the gizzard. So I'm going to try to find it here. That's a kidney. Okay. There is a bile sac in here that you don't really want to touch. Okay, there's a lot of fat in this brew. Okay, there's your bile sac, the greenish blue bag. It's got a lot of vile stuff in it. I'm just going to clean this up. So this is where all that food that they've digested is actually broken down for the final part before they go for a poop. Okay, so we're just going to take all of this, then you're just going to go in and do a little better clean. You look in, try to get all the stuff out. Now the lungs are deep in the ribs, so what I do is I actually use the tip of my fingers, I find the ribs, and I go right down to the backbone. Sometimes you have to get a knife in there, and this is where you got to watch your fingers. And just scrape everything out. Okay, and we'll just take this, and once again, just getting up a little on me, but basically you've got to gut it out good. Okay. You can stick your finger right through where the crop is, and you can see my finger down there. So now we're just going to take the bird and just wash it. You want to be nice and clean. You should see the water coming out the front, which we do have. And you can always go in and, like any loose fragments and stuff like that, you can give them a pull and, now you have a nice clean, basically cleaned out Sunday night dinner. So we're going to take this, and I put all my birds in ice water. Okay, this is the first bird that's in there. I'm going to stick this in there. I'm going to literally get ice inside. And this is going to sit at 12 to 18 hours in there. Okay? And you're going to have some of the best chicken you can get. So, the heart and the gizzard, they usually use for stuffing. So, and then just slice the heart through like that. There. And the gizzard, now I'm going to show you something. You can see that. There's food in there. So, see that? So you're just going to grab that, peel it out, wash them as very good, very well. So we have our gizzard and our hearts. Okay, and that's just going to go into with the meat as well. Here, and that's two different ways to process your bird. and they taste way a lot better than anything store-bought. Thank you for watching us.